Today is November 7th, and we're doing a very quick impromptu episode here because we just finished recording Talkin Baseball while all these crazy quotes came out from Hal and Cashman. So welcome to Talkin Yanks. We will do maybe an episode a couple days from now where we really flesh these out and think on them a little bit. This is kind of 20 minutes of a guttural reaction to everything that's happening. And I do want to set the stage here with what Hal said initially, because his early quotes are what we wanted to hear in a sense. He opened up with, "It was awful. We accomplished nothing. We didn't win a division, didn't make it to the playoffs, didn't win a series in the playoffs, much less a championship. The fans didn't get anywhere close to what they deserved. I told them this season is completely unacceptable. That we got a winning record. That's not an accomplishment. That's a requirement as far as I'm concerned." Great.
Yeah. Keyword, unacceptable. Highlighted that. Yes, we agree. It was awful. Yes, we agree. There's one weird plot twist, and he says we're going to be active, which, they're pretty much going to say that every offseason, I guess, unless they win a World Series, but we'll see if that happens again. And then there's just one plot twist from Hal. We're bunting.
We're bunting a lot. We want to bunt more. Hal came out and said one of the misconceptions that's out there, because I hear it from a lot of people, is that Boone makes every decision in the dugout during the game based on analytics. And Cashman talks later about how they have the smallest analytics department in the AL East, 5 teams. So they're saying, "Oh God, it's not the analytics, it's us.
Right. You
guys keep telling us it's the analytics. We don't use that many analytics. It's just us. It's our baseball brains that led us this way." So that's such a diversion and not whatever.
Yeah, there's so much to unpack with the Cashman part. Let's just tie off anything else we need to on Hal.
Okay, well, the last thing is wild. There's going to be some big changes. There's going to be changes some people might not consider significant, but Judge and I may, because we're doing this every day.
Hey, man.
So is Judge and Steinbrenner,
yes,
Judge and Hal are the brain trust right now? We've heard other quotes about that sound like that as well. Like Judge said he talks to Hal more than Cash.
I mean, the rumored hitting coach, that we'll get to that next week, he's supposedly a guy that gets along well with Judge, and they were in the minors together, and he coached him there. So, yeah, I think part of the giving Judgy close to $400 million was like, Hal, we're going to be buddies. We're going to be pals. We're going to do this together. So, yeah, Judge is in the mix. Hal, 7.5 out of 10 owner presser. Hit anything you wanted to. The only 2.5 point gap, A, I'm a tough grader, and B, it would, he didn't give us any sick things like we're gonna get so many players. He didn't give anything too over the top, but he admitted last year's a disappointment. And then that kind of leads to Cash.
So he comes out, disappointment, not good, all this stuff. Cashman opens his speech with, "I think we're pretty fucking good," was his opening line. And then he was argumentative a little bit, kind of what I said I feared the Yankees' tone would be. You guys are dumb. You don't know what you're talking about. And
defensive. Very
defensive. In so many weird ways. Just scrolling through the Twitter updates and the quotes. I'm proud of our operations. Think we have a great group of baseball people. Well, you're being audited right now for an unacceptable season per the boss.
Are they being audited?
The audit is a year long. The audit is the full
It's a year long, and it's still not internal, right?
Joel Sherman ripped them apart in his article.
As he should. This is all a joke. How can you open with the pretty fucking good quote? You just had your worst season in 30 years.
Hal Steinbrenner called an 82 and 80 season unacceptable and promised big changes, and those big changes so far are to hire a hitting coach to replace one who left voluntarily and to bring in an outside consulting firm that has yet to do any work. That's from Joel Sherman's article.
Our social team thought the Cashman quote was a joke.
Yes,
they didn't want to run with it. They thought it was a hack or a joke or something. No, it was a real quote that after their worst season in 30 years, after not having gone to a World Series and coming up on 15 years now, they said, I think we're pretty fucking good. When Hal also previously said, and like Cashman goes on to talk about how they need more players and like the whole thing, it's...
Okay, so some weird stuff. Cashman said he gets a kick out of people criticizing the Joey Gallo and Sonny Gray trades because Gallo was picked up by playoff teams. He didn't play in the playoffs.
Yeah. He got benched.
He was like, that's like saying that because you guys picked up fucking Kendrys Morales that one year in 2019 or whatever, that like other teams can brag about how Morales is good. Like, what are you talking? You got picked up to be a bench piece. And then he defended the Gray trade, which I defend as well. I don't mind that. He did admit that, and this is something we were told, and I thought was crazy, and I've talked about it on the air a lot.
Well, just if I may, really quick on Sonny Gray, like I'm with you. I like the Sonny Gray trade. I didn't even want to jump ship on him when everyone else was ready to jump ship. But how can you take credit? How can you take credit for Sonny Gray being good this year? Wouldn't that be more of a reflection on like your coaches and stuff? Like, again, doesn't that turn back around? Okay, so good player can't be good for your team?
He's saying
that's another problem.
He's saying that like their ability to see potential in guys is good, but then they're saying, well, but your development or your coaching isn't good. And a reporter challenged him on that with the minor leagues that like your development's good. You haven't had offensive people come up, and then they got into a whole fight about how Peraza hasn't. This really weird semantics fight where Cashman was saying even if Peraza did hit, he had no spot to play, where the reporter was saying, no, if he hit, he would play. And Cashman was like, no, even if he hit, he wouldn't play, which is nuts because you also said run prevention was your biggest problem as a team. Absolutely. But then this dude says if Peraza hit, he would play more. And you say, actually, no. Even if he did hit, he didn't have a spot. Well, dude, run prevention is a problem. In this imaginary situation, we're saying a guy could help the run prevention, and you said, no, Donaldson's there. That's what he said. So you're just they're just defensive on all sides that they're not even being a united front of what we stand by our analytics. We have the smallest analytics department. So you guys saying this is wrong, but we do love our analytics operation because people pillage our guys, but we don't use analytics the whole time. We use our brains too. You're defending you're contradicting yourself because you're defending everything.
Yeah. There's no
one set like this.
He said Stan's been good when Stan's healthy. Stan was healthy this year from everything we heard, and he was not good this year. The way he casually mentioned Donaldson when he was giving like a defensive speech, and it's like, oh, yeah, no, definitely. Everyone was on he shouldn't be back with the team, but you guys brought him back, and that was not successful. Yeah, man, it's all a joke. I mean, the fact that he says coaches are being poached by other teams, Mendoza, the Yankees bench coach, gets hired by the Mets, and saying that their operations and processes are all pretty fucking good again. It's just awful. I mean, this team. It's not like you can look back at the numbers and be like, man, the baseball gods got them. Like San Diego Padre fans, they probably don't care or want to hear this, but the Padres were like, damn, we lost so many run games. Like our numbers are saying we should. None of the Yankees numbers said they should have been better. It's not like, man, they kind of fell on some bad luck. The hitting was as bad as it's ever been for a Yankee team. It's ever been. So for Cash to come out with no remorse, no anything, I mean, it's horrifying because he also says we need, two left-handed hitting outfielders, and we're going to try to figure out the Peraza-Torres situation and staying up and running.
What's the quote on Peraza-Torres? What's to figure out?
Let's see.
Hold it into the mic.
We need two outfielders because of Jason Dominguez being hurt now. Obviously, that doesn't help. So now I need a center fielder. I need a left fielder, preferably left-handed. If that's always try to reinforce our pitching. We have infield. surplus? You know, do you try to find a lane to get Peraza involved, or I'm sure people will try to prey on that. You know, we have Gleyber Torres in the last year of his contract. He had a hell of a year. He was our second best hitter last year, obviously behind Judge, and got to get Stanton up and running again. You know, and hopefully, you know, this past year, because the one thing he's injury prone. We all have lived and known that, but he's never not hit when he's playing. And this year is the first time that's happened. So, you know, hopefully, find LeMahieu clearly in the last 2 months, I felt like started to feel like his old self. He was able to unpack some things with our strength and conditioning side. I think the previous winter, he wasn't able to do as much that he could because of the foot and having to give it the time to heal. And so it's probably, created a hangover into the season more than we expected. But I think he found a better spot towards the end. So hopefully we can count on him as we move forward. And, I know our players are embarrassed. I know we're embarrassed. And we want to find a way to fight through it. But that doesn't mean these players aren't good. And that doesn't mean that we don't have a chance to make it better.
Man, it's just, they're saying the right things. We're embarrassed and our players are embarrassed. And yeah, of course. But then they're, like I said, they're too defensive, and they're just talking out all sides of their mouths.
The other thing that I've been getting lost in, they originally came out and they said, "Oh boy, the Yankees are doing an audit," and we said, "Good, audit the shit out of it, right?" We heard there's been some successful audits. Let's hear what's going on with the Yanks. Okay, what's the next audit update? Well, it's not about the Yanks. It's going to be about all the other teams. Okay, sure. Doesn't fully make sense, but sure, you should be auditing all the other teams all the time. We play in a 30-team league where you need to be better than the other teams. You should probably be constantly auditing what the other teams are doing. Okay. So how's the audit going? Hadn't started, and it's going to be a year. Okay. Again, that doesn't seem to be really helpful. And now it's just nothing. They pointed to injuries, which any team is always going to be able to have that argument, but the injuries aren't different. And we're in a competitive workplace. There's 30 teams that go out and try to win games every year, and you're getting beat by them. You finish 4th in the division. Come out and say we're really fucking good, and yet we need all this help. We need 2 outfielders. We need pitching. We need infielders. And that defensive, you saw my face react when he said teams are going to try to prey on them to get Peraza.
Well, I didn't I think he was saying we're going to prey on that. He's asking.
I think he said other teams are trying to prey on them trade-wise and not give them proper value.
I wouldn't be shocked if he said that
millions of times. And guess what, dude? I don't care.
I don't know.
That's the whole fucking job.
Yeah, I'm interested to. I don't know what he. I would have to listen to that one back because I thought he was talking about I thought he was talking about reporters. I don't know.
Either way,
it was odd. Yeah, it was odd. Okay. Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, we'll flesh it out a little more and see, but it's a little bit exactly what I feared about their first press conference. Nothing about what they're doing, trying to change. Big changes that the public won't think are big, but Judge and Hal, they think are big. Cashman both said that.
Are there big changes?
Well, he said there's big changes coming. That's kind of what he said.
But we're not going to think they're big. That's what they said.
We won't think they're big, no.
There's big changes coming. You guys won't think they're big.
Yeah, that's basically what it was.
That one, I'm curious what they end up being. And literally, Cashman and Boone are staying.
I mean, dude,
that's all he means.
The big changes are going to be that they are gonna bunt more. In philosophy, I think they're talking about.
How many current Yankee starters as of tomorrow can bunt?
Well,
I think 1.
Well, Hal says that a year and a half ago they stopped all training on bunting. They haven't been doing that, and now Boone thinks that bunting's coming back. So Boone is gonna go down to Tampa and keep the conversation going. This is what that quote is. They stopped teaching bunting. Right? Did you just read it?
No, but I went to the Yankees roster resource to answer Jake's question. Just stands as a bench. It's crazy.
So
First time I've been there in a while.
that's 15 minutes on the docket. 5 more to spare if you want, but this was going to be a quick episode. It was brought to you by SeatGeek. You can use code Yanks to get $20 off a ticket of your choice. They got an app. They got a website. They give you green bubbles if it's a good deal, red if it's a bad deal. Head to the spring training and watch whatever the big changes are going to be. Thanks for tuning in and subscribe to the channel because the offseason's picking up, I guess. And this was a little bit of a bummer. Actually, I was boiling with rage. So not a little bit of a bummer. Yeah. It made me boil with rage. And I prepped myself for this. Last episode or 2 episodes ago, I said, this is what I'm prepping for. And then here it came. And Jesus.
Like, were Hal and him not in cahoots on meeting day? Because
Talkin Yanks just retweeted somebody who posted our quote graphics back to back. Hal's, it was awful. We accomplished nothing. Cashman, I think we're pretty fucking good. Yeah.
Yep.
You guys said the opposite.
Yeah. Well, it's Hal and Judge, so Judge needs to hold his press conference. Bizarre. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks. Quick impromptu. We'll do a full episode and keep going on this, I guess.
Great.
Great. Go Yanks, telegrams.
Go Yankees.